Welcome back. Now, the South African Petroleum Industry Association confirmed just last week that there was inadequate stock of diesel in the country since the easing of lockdown restrictions and the opening of the economy. There has been a dramatic increase in demand for diesel. Stock rationing was indeed implemented in order to manage the demand. What is the situation now, though, is the question. Avhapfuri Tshifularo is the GE of the South African Petroleum Industry Association, and they join us on the line. It's a good afternoon to you, Avhapfuri. Thank you so much for the time. So what is the actual situation right now in terms of the shortages, in terms of what is needed and how much is needed, too?
Rabile, you are quite correct. Last week we were rationing to manage the demand for supply. And that was as a result of the two refineries in Durban that were still, ramping up their production. But they have since been back online, so the production has normalized. So as far as we've witnessed, since over the weekend until today, there has been sufficient production from those two refineries in the KZN region.
Yeah. Would a time like this be great for stockpiling, though, considering that, yes, fine, the oil price has climbed back above $40 a barrel, but still remaining fairly cheaper? Would this be the right time to have still been stockpiling? And one can understand that the reason we haven't had the fuel is because of the slow traveling amidst these lockdown and COVID-19 restrictions. But could we do that now, for example?
Arabile, stockpiling is a function of several factors. So you need first to have a strategic stock policy that's going to guide how you replenish your stock levels if you are talking about stockpiling for the purpose of strategic stock holding. But you need also infrastructure if you are talking about stockpiling. You need to have sufficient tankage to do that. As it stands now, the infrastructure that we have is not built for stockpiling. It's built to service the current market. In other words, the assumption is that as you produce product, they will be going directly to the market. So should that demand not materialize, it means, therefore, there will be a pushback in terms of what you can stock. It will start from the tankage at the refinery, which will not be sufficient. Eventually, you'll get the pipeline that is full to capacity, and then it leads to the depots that are also full. Therefore, it will start to impact the production levels at the refinery.
Yeah. Who's responsible then for the stockpiling from here on in, especially from our strategic reserves point of view?
The current policy that we have is a directive that is issued to Strategic Fuel Fund by the Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy. But that is only for stockpiling crude oil, but it does not cater for the full crude requirements for all the South African refineries. So as far as finished products, there is no policy as far as how stockpiling should be done.
What happens then if we continue to have the shortage of diesel? What's the worst case scenario here?
Arabile, I think, look, if you don't have enough diesel, it starts to affect the economic activities in the country, the farmers, fishing industry, mining. But I must, probably at this point, just mention to you that, Transnet Pipelines have reported that, their pipeline has been shut down for repairs following two major incidents, safety incidents earlier during the week. Unfortunately, this type of incidents, they direct impact the transportation of petroleum products between Durban and Johannesburg. So if that is not repaired as quickly as possible, we might be start to see the impact on the supply of not only diesel and all other products that are supplied by this pipeline between Durban and Johannesburg. So we are looking closely at this repair situation to see whether it's done as quickly as possible so that we can avert any shortage of products in the inland market.
Yeah, are we aware of any sort of reserves of diesel making their way to South Africa at the present moment, or is it just a case of wait and hope?
As it stands, there's no problem with the availability of diesel in the country. We've got enough diesel in Durban. The issue is like you can't transport it because we're talking about significant large volumes of products that need to be injected into the pipeline. As long as the pipeline is under repair, you are not going to be able to move any product, whether locally manufactured or imported. I mean, you are not going to be able to move it into the inland market.
Yeah, certainly gets very interesting now as the economy begins to open up and a whole lot more people are really going to require that fuel there. Avhapfuri Tshifularo, thank you so much for the time there. South African Petroleum Industry Association, they're joining us on the line. That was their GE there as well.